Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GBYWN Australia podcast. I am your host, as usual, Aston Crude, here for part 2 of my interview with Killawatt Kaos. Kaos, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, and howdy guys. Everybody listening?
Thanks for listening out there, everyone. And here on part 2, we'll be discussing Kaos's time in the Warzone Wrestling Alliance. So first question, Kaos. WZWA begins, and you were at the first show with the ring at Frostbite. What did you first think when you heard about the ring?
I thought it was the most amazing thing that could have happened to us. We finally got a ring. What we've all wanted, what we've all been dreaming of doing, wrestling in a ring, it happened. We're finally there. Of course, I was a bit skeptical on who I might be versing, but nonetheless, there's a ring there, and I was ready to make the best of it. I was definitely really excited, especially that it was a different outlet than ICWS to wrestling. And,
what did you think when you first found out that it was no longer Jack that was booking, it was going to be me instead?
Power hungry bastard, probably. I'm pretty sure I would have been like that, because I didn't fully understand. I was like, well, where's he going with this? What's he doing? Why? Why does Aston have to, why does he have to be the boss?
Would you think that you'd be able to trust Jack? It would be pretty hard to listen to a 15-year-old or however old he is.
That's the thing I was juggling. I don't think this Jack gets Chaos, so I don't think I'd be booked very well. Aston definitely, like, he'll get me. He'll know. But I was definitely like, this guy's probably gonna like have the heavyweight title
very soon.
You know, I'm seeing this right now. Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett. No, but no, I definitely was a bit like, all right.
See how this goes.
It's always the same. It's if as soon as I hear you're in charge, or you know you've got some power, it's always, well, I better have something to do with Aston. Like,
yeah.
I always, every time, and as we'll probably go on with that.
We'll get into that at some point.
Yeah.
Yourself and Ice have your now 5th death match since the inception of your time in ICWS in a cracker of a battle at Frostbite. What was it like wrestling in the ring and going out there with your brother and doing it in a ring?
Amazing. It was. I did not feel nervous or. I didn't feel any hesitation or doubt. I knew that we'd go out there, we'd have an excellent match, because, me and Ice have just always wanted to be in a ring. Like, that's the thing. Wrestle in a ring, kick people's asses in a ring, take bumps in a ring, get bloody, like. We definitely knew what we wanted. It was definitely, years in the making. It's just all this somewhat sexual frustration of wanting to wrestle in a ring, and the climax was us just coming together and doing an ICWS caliber in a ring and making it a WZWA caliber now, just that combination.
And to go from, wrestling on the lawn and mattresses to a base, and now you're in a ring, it's quite a nice progression.
It's definitely a great evolution of the times.
Yeah. So, okay, when I'm bringing you in, I had my idea for you. You're going to be the Sandman of WZWA. You're going to be the babyface that everyone loved. You're the hardcore maniac, basically. Were you skeptical at first to do something completely different and be a babyface?
Yeah, definitely. I was a heel for so long, and it was basically, I left the face thing behind. I actually thought I'd always be a heel. So, like, even aspirations of the whole heavy metal SPWS face kind of thing was in the back of my head, if ever recovered, until you're a baby face, and I brought it back, and I kind of did like a metal. It was a very mixed chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely hard to get into the Sandman-ish kind of mood where I was trying to work my own kind of stuff into it, and I wish I kind of kept the straight and narrow and actually kept to how I was, and maniacal, and definitely keep the jeans on for a bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, a bit more rockish.
Yeah.
A bit more straight.
Yeah. So your feud with Ice continued from the first show. I think, you know, the first thing I wanted to do was get that done, and then we can move you guys on to something else. I thought, you know, it'd be good for the first time for you guys to be split apart, because I looked at the roster and I said, I looked at everyone and I thought to myself, what haven't they done yet? What can we do that's different from what they've done before? So just trying to keep things different and interesting.
Yeah.
The feud continues in conjunction with Rex Regan as the new protege for Dark Ice. My idea to do so because I needed someone that would be able to get Chris to shut up sometimes, and someone to rein him in and teach him the ways of how to act towards everyone else and how to show the appropriate respect. What did you think of Rex in 2012, you know, when you had just first kind of got to know him?
I thought he was a little fucking shit. Yeah, it was like this little prick's a ballsy little like pug that just gnaws at your ankles. You know, and he gets on your nerves, and it wasn't. I think it was the wrestling him that got me to really know how he was and build respect for each other. Definitely a great guy to work with. And the whole angle of him being Ice's protege, me having a feud with him, was definitely Star Wars-ish. From, you know, Ice being somewhat an Emperor and Chris being the Sith, me being the Jedi. You know, it's definitely how I saw it, and definitely my geeky head that I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
I love how every situation you're in, you can somehow bring it back to nerdy references.
Yeah, well, that's how I definitely saw it. You know, there was a balance in the Force, man. I definitely wanted to shut that fucking Sith up.
Yeah.
He definitely needed that.
So soon after the feud starts, your brother Dark Ice goes down with psoriasis in the middle of the feud. How did that make you feel?
Very upset and very nervous, because I didn't know if I could still bring up a caliber of performance without Ice. And sometimes I still don't, like, even if me and Ice aren't in the same storyline, he is one of the rocks I lean on, and you know, I definitely annoy the fuck out of him, because I'm always like, you can't, like, you've got to be here for me. Oh, we're not in the same storyline, but you know, but you need to be there so I can feel better about myself. You know, he, like I said, he's like my wrestling wife or wrestling husband, however he wants to see it. Sorry if Ice is offended, but you know, he's my other half, and definitely it was painful to. What was worse about it was to see him in pain. And he was still wrestling while he's, you know, in the first stages of it, and that's Ice. He's really strong. He's resilient, and I think it's just upset to see someone go down and kind of get defeated for that first time. I definitely didn't like him. I definitely wanted Ice to still be there and kick my ass.
Yeah. So there was scheduled for the first time ever a Stairway to Hell match between yourself and Ice to kind of end the feud.
Yeah.
So with Ice having to bow out, pardon me. It ends up being changed to a three-way for the Backyard title, and Antilochus has been building up this Backyard Championship. Before there's a World Hardcore title, there was a Backyard title. Yourself, Rex, and Antilochus. Match of the year. Take us through how that match became such a battle that it did, and what happened at the spot where you were set on fire, and how badly were you burned?
The spot with the fire was actually supposed to be Antilochus and Rex on the top of the ladder, and I would push the ladder.
Oh, got ya.
And they would be the two that go through the flaming table. Both chickened out. They saw the flames and kind of thought, well, I think we're actually not
I
going to
don't
do
think
this.
Jacob's hair would have agreed with the...
No,
the
definitely
tape.
not. And we all know how Jacob is, and he loves his fucking hair. Like,
Yeah.
you sooner kick him in the nuts than pull his hair.
Yeah.
So it ended up, that I said, you know what, guys, that it's on fire. We can't do nothing. It's just going to burn. Like, we're just going to have a bonfire in our hands. So, put me through it. Double suplex. And it happened, and it kind of, I just thought for safety reasons, as soon as I hit, I'll kind of like roll out and then just kind of get out of the table. And it wasn't until like, I hit the table, I rolled out, and like I can still see the flame going. And I'm like, well, this is tickling a bit. And I'm just like, and then rolled, and then I went to like to roll and some more, and ended up under the fucking ring. And it wasn't until my best friend and my other half, Ice, just fucking, as I've pushed myself back out from under the ring, he's grabbed my shirt and ripped it the other way. So without even thinking, we've literally helped each other, because I've pushed myself out of my shirt and he's ripped it off me as well. And then I literally don't remember feeling pain during it, just a sensation of really hot. And if I could go back, I'd do it again.
You got second degree burns?
Yeah, second
And you
degree.
ruined one of your tattoos, didn't it?
It just missed one of my tattoos. I think
Okay.
it just got the bottom of my Serbian crest, but it actually ended up fine, because most of the second degree burn was under my arm and not on my tattoo, which, funny enough, I didn't get treated till like 3 days after I got burnt.
Shit.
I was just too busy wanting poontang, and
Fair enough, bro.
literally that's how dumb I am. I'm like, you know what, it's just a burn. It's only the worst thing that can happen infection wise.
How does it feel to get match of the year?
Oh, amazing. I recently got match of the year. I previously got match of the year in ICWS with Ice, or Hardcore Match of the Year, sorry, which I thought was amazing. And then to get, actual match of the year, it definitely boosted my confidence. And to get Hardcore Moment of the Year, it was definitely, I felt like I was comfortable in my own skin, and I wasn't just another gimmick anymore.
Yeah.
It was something that was me.
Cool. You wrestle Ice in what was supposed to be his final match at Revenge. We kind of came to the conclusion that this would be it for him. So how did that make you feel to go out there at the time, what seemingly could have been your best friend's last match?
It was a bit euphoric. I've always thought that when it comes down to our last matches, it would be between us two. I actually didn't think deep down that it would be Ice's last match.
Deep down, I didn't think so either. I thought he will be back one day. He'll beat this.
He's definitely going to come back. There's no holding him back. Even if he says, I've actually got to, after this psoriasis, if I get over it, I still probably won't come back.
Yeah.
No, you will be back, but if it is the worst case, then I'm happy to have that last match. Going out there I was quite nervous. I wanted his last match to be good. And as always, we organise. It's usually up to us two who wins most of the time, because that's how usually everyone kind of books it, that it can go either way. The storyline will still remain the same. Ice, who do you want to go over? Ice, being the best friend, I want you to go over, man.
If you're gonna go out on your back.
And that's basically what happened. I think there was just the one little hiccup where I've choked him out, but not everyone's like, it's SPWS rules, but Yeah, I think that was mostly on our part, where we just wrestled such a good match, and then we're like,
It
what
was
do we
a
do?
really
Like,
good
how do we
match.
end this?
It was
Like,
really good.
you know, yeah, and the thumbtacks were amazing.
Alright, now I might be getting the timeline wrong because I can't remember. But, I believe it was before this match. But I might be wrong. It might have been next year. So if it is, then we'll just skip to that and then we'll go back. Ice paid tribute to your mum.
Yep.
Was that Revenge? Was that 2012 or was it 2013? It was 2013.
It was 2013.
Okay, well let's forget about the fact that I've got the timeline wrong. Let's just go to that then.
Yep.
So I know this might be hard to talk about.
Oh no.
But can you tell us about what you were going through, and what all of that did to you, and how it made you feel, and how did you overcome such a difficult situation?
Well, my mum had been terminally ill for quite a while, with lymphoma. It ended up that she ended up passing away quite recently, like before the event. So quite previously before that event. But for me, it was I relapsed into a couple of things. Into a couple of vices, but try to keep still straight and narrow for her sake, for my friend's sake. It ended up that also my girlfriend that I was heavily involved with left, and that around the same time, and I was actually really heartbroken, losing my mum and losing a really dear person to me. It ended up that Ice did that, and that really warmed my heart. But what got me through it, and with wrestling as well, was my mum was my biggest fan. She never thought what I was doing was stupid. She always wanted to watch my matches. When I got burnt, she never said, "I'm disappointed at you" or anything. She said, "That's you, like that. You're gonna do that. Like, I love you for being a kid that's strong enough to brush it off, and you didn't get heavily injured. You kind of knew exactly what you were doing to stop, drop, and roll, and not run around and fight like a dickhead." Even in her last days, she wasn't very responsive, being in hospice. But every time she asked, "How's my wrestling going? Do you have a new match up?" My mum was my best friend, being a single mother and a single child for my whole life, and my wrestling buddy, along with my granddad, biggest fucking fangirl of Undertaker, and you couldn't really tell her different. There was always Undertaker with her, and she was always the one that believed in me that I could become the next Undertaker. Like, you don't need to be Stone Cold, you're Undertaker, you're the Phenom. Having her in my memory was the best thing. Don't ever stop. I was always her soldier, and I just kept soldiering on.
Oh, good man. Thanks for sharing with that with us.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next subject. Yourself, Rex, Ice, Jacob, basically were the reason that the GBYWN and Rad Hazard gave us the World Hardcore title. What were your thoughts when that title was going to be introduced?
I thought this is so awesome, like something to come from the GBYWN as well. It was just like this is a world title, and it's always a world title.
Fucking huge, man.
Yeah,
huge for us.
It's big, and for me, I find it more prestigious, unfortunately, than the WZWA title, because of it being a world thing.
Well, obviously, it should be. It's recognised around the globe. So.
Exactly, and to have the history behind it, a lot of people have actually carried it overseas. So, and the fact that it was us that it got given to, that we got trusted with it.
Because you said you guys do hardcore better than anyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. we made an impact, you know.
It wasn't a CZW type of, you know, going out there and smashing crap in a spot fest. We actually had a match that with hardcore elements. You know, it's not just a hardcore match.
Yeah.
Just a fucking tournament of death war.
Yeah.
It was a match with hardcore elements. That
Yeah.
kind of hardcore match. Yeah, and I was stoked. I was so proud of the Fed. I was so proud of us. Proud of myself that we could have that caliber of wrestling.
Yeah.
And that, the title got given to us.
It was awesome.
Yes.
So at Resolution 1, you face the Great Shinigami, better known as Tim Justice, in the first World Hardcore title tournament match.
Yep.
What was it like working with Tim?
Quite easy. Whatever I would say goes. One thing that, because I was the one that was basically destroying him. I'm the one that got the upper hand in the match. Most of the time, I let him take care of the finisher. If he wanted to go, I'd tell him how he wanted to go out, or he had made his way how he wanted to go out. Unfortunately, he put wooden blocks on the table. I kind of wasn't all for that. Definitely,
I didn't really understand it.
Definitely better than Jack's glitter. And our only fucking match. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. It was good to have that match as the opening tournament match.
Yeah.
It'd definitely be a lot worse if it was somewhere in the middle or at the end of the tournament. I just saw it as a breaking match for the tournament, really.
Yeah. Where are we? What did you think of the tournament taking place over the course of 9 months, as opposed to within one event?
I liked it. It also gave me something to do. I wasn't plodding along. I was actually as I saw it as well, was the #1 pick for the Hardcore Championship. So why not keep fighting for that title? I quite liked it. I thought it was a smart move, and definitely better time-wise as well.
Yeah. And you knew from day one already. I'd already told you you're winning this tournament.
Yeah.
You go through that flaming table. You take second-degree burns and say you'll do it again. You're the first ever World Hardcore Champion in Australia. That's end of story. No questions about it. At Aftershock, you main event your first WZWA show against Alex Stone for the Backyard Championship. How did you think Alex was coming along as my partner, and what did you think of your short feud with him? Because you guys cut some very harsh promos on one another at the time.
Yep.
I believe he brought up your weight, different things like that. It was very, very, a lot of animosity.
Yeah. Funny enough, there was one point in our lives where me and Alex hated the fuck out of each other. Apparently, I was too into wrestling, and he didn't want to be around me. I think that year in which we weren't talking, there's even a time when he did bring up my weight, telling me I was as big as a bus. Stuff like that over MSN. I still remember it, Alex. So basically, when those promos came up, it was like, we can use that. Like, we don't still hate each other.
Yeah.
It was all peace between us, but we know how to get under each other's skin, and versing him first. Basically having the first match with him as the new world champion in hardcore, the GBYWN, was amazing. Because we click.
This was the Backyard title match.
Oh, Backyard, sorry.
Sorry, just to...
No, that's alright.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool little short feud, You popped in for a cup of coffee against the Elite Alliance, then you went back to the tournament.
Yeah, which was real fun, and it was actually great to have a bit more experience with Alex.
Yeah.
We're definitely really good friends, and I'd do anything for him. And yeah, it was just a really fun match.
Yeah. Sorry for the listeners out there about the rain. I'm sure that you're picking up everything that we're saying. So what does Alex Stone mean to your career?
Alex Stone is like the Chris Jericho to my Kane. He's the one that plumped up my career a bit, added more colour to it. Alex Stone is definitely he's definitely a big part of what I am. Being good mates, it's always great to have him around. We always have a laugh. There's never any love lost. And he's such a great person to work with and to watch and to learn from. He's so charismatic, and just the stigma of Alex at the moment is amazing. I'd be happy to verse him again, and
I'm sure it will happen.
yes. So
At Wham Bam Body Slam 2013, you face a timid Jack Wallace in his first big match against somebody bigger than him. How would you rate his performance in a Chaos hardcore match? Aside from the glitter.
Aside from the glitter, he was absolutely petrified. I told him we worked this slowly. He did not want to do any hardcore stuff. He didn't want to take a hardcore bump. He wanted me to do it all. He just kind of... the way I saw it would have been a very black and white match. Until, how about thumbtacks, how about, barbed wire. It doesn't hurt, man. You can beat me up with the barbed wire through the match. Just to see for yourself that, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
No, he said he had a tin of stuff that was good. He rattled it and showed me the tin, and he said it's glass. And I believed him. I just kind of looked in. All right, sweet. So you sure you want to take that? Yeah. Barbed wire might be a bit safer. Yeah, I want to take glass.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and it ended up that I poured it out, and it's flailing all over the place, and I'm like, that's fucking glitter. And that's why when I powerbombed him, I made sure I did it really fucking hard. I even left the ring and came back with the barbed wire and smacked him, and that wasn't planned. That was literally me coming back and being like, look man, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
And he was still petrified.
Well, maybe he wanted to be in the hardcore tournament. And
yeah.
Can't be in the tournament, not do hardcore.
He is a great performer, and he's getting better and better as the years go on. But definitely, I think he might have bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah. Okay. Your year continues on with victories over Alex Stone, Dan Zeppelin, and Acid. The World Hardcore title is in sight. Were you concerned at all that you didn't really have much of a storyline aside from simply chasing this title?
I did. I felt maybe there's a bit more I could do, but in the bigger picture, that was my goal. Like that was my focus. I was going through people. Every challenge that was thrown at me, I proved that I was worthy of uprising the ranks, and I never lost my colourful character. Versing Acid was really cool as well, for his debut back, and great bloke. Didn't mind getting smacked in the head with a dildo or whatever it was.
The dildo.
Penis. Which he took it. That wasn't even planned. So
yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I thought there was pros and cons, but the cons were usually just what more can I do? Because that's just me being a bit greedy. I always wanted to do double duty as well. What I wanted to do more.
Yeah.
I just want to scoop it all in.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely glad that there wasn't more mixed in. That was my focus, was that title.
Yeah. With that being said, though, there was a short 3-show feud after his debut. Daniel Johnston joined around this time. I think the first thing he said was he wanted to work with you because he'd only been in a tag match with JD Flame against you guys in early 2011 or something. So first thing was first, he was the anti-hardcore guy coming in, anti-backyard wrestling. He's doing pro wrestling training. He's coming after, he's calling you out basically, saying that you can't wrestle, you only do hardcore, you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So what was it like finally getting to work with DJ properly?
Yeah, it was great. First singles match with him. It was good. I learned a lot of how to work with Daniel and how unfortunately his disability will restrict him with some things, but with every restriction you can do more of something else.
Accentuate the strengths, hide the weaknesses.
That's exactly it, and he was definitely stiff. As much as he doesn't say he is and that he's fair, he's a stiff motherfucker. I gave it right back to him.
As you would.
Yeah, and the storyline, I like that I did have a little distraction that some guys coming out and dissing what I love, and that we did go back and forth. There was a singles, there was a hardcore match. He'd come out and during my entrance and beat on me, and I really liked it. It was very fun. It was very fun to work with him, and unfortunately, we could have done more if I didn't somewhat frighten him, because during one of the trainings I did German suplex him, thinking he was a bit heavier, but he was actually good at jumping and actually helping me lift him, and I dropped him right on his back and he bended over and got winded, and fortunately I also was a bit too hesitant to throw him around a bit more, so it was a lot of brawling.
Yeah. And I thought it was a cool little feud, which obviously culminated after Hardcore Hell when you were the World Hardcore Champion. So the next one is Hardcore Hell 2013. Yourself, Rex, 3Dog. You finally win the title and become the first person in Australia to be recognised as a world champion. How did that feel?
Oh, I felt fucking amazing. I'm smiling right now with a big grin because I was quite fit. I was on top of my game. I was having good matches. Being with 3Dog and Rex in the match as well was amazing. To have the win over a WZWA original, one of the biggest guy at that point in the Fed. We left the ring in shambles.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was just a pile of fucking carnage in the middle that you guys were just bumping on freely.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we wanted. We just wanted to get thrashed and trashed, and at the end, I was given the pleasure of holding up that title and having my moment of being on people's shoulders, which I've never had. Never really thought I would. So I always thought I'd be a heel, or if I was a face, I'd be a very strict kind of guy. But no, that was amazing, and it definitely set the tone of where I wanted to go and how I wanted to be.
Yeah. And I remember before the match, standing there with you, Aaron and Chris, and saying, "This is big, guys. You got to go out there. No pauses. Just go for each other, one after another. Just keep going. Just make sure that this flows constantly. Make sure this is crazy. This is like us proving to Radhaz that he made a good investment in us."
Exactly. Yeah.
A short feud is kicked off with Clint Marshall just before Resolution. I thought it was rushed, and that's my fault. Unfortunately, when you get near the end of the year and then you got Christmas Carnage and then Resolution, you got to kind of rush to get some angles going to get to Resolution and do some good stuff. But I thought it was rushed. But were you happy with your Resolution 2 match with Zibby? I believe this is the second year in a row you the match before the main event.
Yes, I think my match with Clint Marshall was actually amazing. We worked well with with each other. We're able to both throw each other around. I'm not 120 kilo Chaos as per our previous encounter in ICWS. Yeah, it was definitely more well-suited, well-rounded wrestling match. Unfortunately, he took a few big hits from me with the tonfa, the headbutt, but he was a good sport about it, which was awesome. I actually loved the match. I wanted that kind of caliber match for my first Resolution match. Unfortunately, just because Chin Justice isn't Clint Marshall, I wanted somewhat like a amazing match, and I got that from my second Resolution match, and it was got the win. Another kind of tip of the hat from Clint as well, which I loved, and
And it, from this point on, there's a thing with the Revolutionaries. At your request, you form a tag team with Three Dog. Although Rex wanted to join as well and make it a stable, but I said no. I can't remember what the name of the group you pitched to me.
It's like the Wolves of the Apocalypse.
Yeah, Wolves of the Apocalypse, yeah. But, Rex had just left the Black Carnival, and I was like, no, you're not going to be in another stable. You're too busy with Ice right now, and they're doing something else. So I said no to Rex being a part of it, but the question here is, why did you want to team with Three Dog?
Me and Three Dog were hanging out a bit more after shows and just clicking a bit more.
Smoking the ganja.
Yeah, and we're getting high and having fun and going over his place and spending the weekend there and just chilling out. And it was just he's a very easygoing bloke.
It's funny as fuck.
Yeah, and he is hilarious, and he loved me. I always felt like I was a mini Three Dog. Of course, I would have been Three Dog back in the day. So I loved him, and I wanted a stable where I was the little guy. I had a big guy. Definitely like a Big Show kind of Undertaker kind of thing. Yeah. We clicked so well, and to have a powerhouse and then like a super powerhouse, that's what I wanted. Unfortunately, for Rex, he did want it. I find it that it did go better with it's just me and Three Dog. There's less complications, and we were like the best mates. Like we gained respect through the hardcore tournament and the hardcore match, and it was we're best friends inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, cool, man. What was it like working with the Revolutionaries, Clint Marshall and Phaser? There was a Combat Crisis. There was 2 singles matches which were phenomenal. Match with you and Phaser, and match with Zibby and Three Dog. And then the ensuing tag team match for the World Hardcore title at the following show. So what was it like working with those two? Especially Phaser, someone that you didn't really know too well.
Yeah, I thought Phaser... I found Phaser to be probably how everybody would have viewed JD Flame in ICWS. Brash in your face, a bit cocky. I kind of was envious. He was a bit more fit than me. I was fit, but I wasn't as fit. He was getting the win, first off. He was going over. I think also my first match with Clinton WZWA, he went over, and then for me to still retain the fucking title after that. So I was a bit like, it's kind of same old. But the match itself was amazing. It was good to work with Phaser. He's a big guy. He was able to throw me around as well, and I'm glad that I was able to make him look like $1 million as well.
Yeah.
It definitely gave me experience on how to put someone over, instead of just losing a match. And definitely I came up with the whole, beat me down afterwards. I'm pretty sure he did. So
yeah, and I thought it was really good, of you and Aaron to really make the Revolutionaries seem like a legit threat to you guys. You know, because there weren't any other, like the other tag teams like Circus Royale and the Rebellion and the franchise, a lot smaller than you guys. So I was trying to build this tag team division into being something which was, you know, just full of tag teams, you know. And I thought that even if it was like just a 3 or 4 show thing between you guys, I thought it was really good way to establish you guys to overcome them in the World Hardcore title tag match.
Well, the tag match was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was amazing. I loved it. The double powerbomb.
Double powerbomb through the tables at the end of the match. Yeah, it was cool.
It was like, you know, a Bluetoothy kind of fist bump for me and Three Dog.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. And I had fun. The match itself had these little foibles that are just that made the match better. One time I like nailed Clint repeatedly, and my wraps have like somehow, in the ferocity of smashing into him, the wraps have wrapped around his head, and I've like kind of let go, and I've noticed that it's almost like a web connected, and I'm like, oh, you know, and if you see, I say, well, this hasn't happened before, and repeatedly kicking him in the chest, and then jumping up and like kicking him in the head. Yeah, just those little imperfections that made it perfect. Yeah. And I loved it.
Cool, man. Alright, next question. Segueing away from wrestling, what was it like living with Rex Regan? I'm going to do a wee.
No worries. Living with Rex. That was interesting. He still has a cocky, brash attitude with him. He's young. He, as much as he thinks he's intelligent, he's not always too street smart. So I kind of took him in as like adopting a little brother, and you know, trying to set him in a bit of a right direction, and you know, not go all off the rails and be too stupid. Rex Regan, he's a great bloke. Him and his family took me in when I basically had nowhere to go, and I was so happy for that, and I'll always be thankful. But we definitely learnt from each other, and just being with him was awesome. To even talk about wrestling, and if we had a match, you're living with the guy. You've got an idea. You can just walk up to the guy and be like, what about if we do this? Yeah. All right, you know, and then you can walk off, and then, you know, our rooms were right next to each other. It was awesome, and it was awesome being able to be a big brother figure for someone. And I've recently talked to Chris, and we got very emotional on when I left and how it was when I was there, and a lot of that came out of how we truly felt, without pride getting in the way. Yeah, and we definitely helped each other out.
Cool, man. So how did you feel dropping the World Hardcore title to Three Dog at Hard Time 3? Do you feel it was too soon?
Honestly did. I kind of didn't want to let go of the title just yet. Yeah. Wanted to hold on to the, as I felt, held on to the world for a bit longer. But I was happy to drop it to Three Dog. He was practically my best mate in WZWA, as far as storyline goes. Practically best mate. It was a good, respectful match, even for a hardcore title. Definitely wanted to hold it on a bit longer though. Yeah. But being that Three Dog won it, I was still. It's his title, but I'm still there in the background. Yeah. And it was definitely like softening the blow for me, which I quite like.
I think the decision to make him the World Hardcore Champion wasn't any fault of yours. It was just I wanted something for him because I thought he'd been putting on some really good performances, and he'd really been impressing me a lot. And I thought, well, what better way for Kaos to pass the torch in some way than to his tag partner, you know? And I thought he was a pretty good World Hardcore Champion, that's for sure.
and I was in his exact spot, you know.
Yeah.
Working through the ranks, and you know, basically that was me going, you know, I was you. I struggled to just get the hardcore title, and that's my thing, you know.
And I saw the passion in him for hardcore wrestling, because he said to me after his tag team with Mykonos, he was like, all I want to do is hardcore. That's all I want to do. I don't care what it is, just make sure I'm always doing something to do with hardcore wrestling. I'm like, alright, well, let's fucking do it then. So yeah, you guys definitely were waving the flag for hardcore wrestling at that point. A short feud with DJ and Steel ignites after DJ defeats you to retain his GBYWN Australian Heavyweight Championship, so you get your first Aussie title shot. Steel was the reason that you lost the match. So the following show, you finally wrestled Steel for the first time. Now, we talked about how timid Jack was to wrestle you. Wrestling Steel, how was it?
Better than wrestling Jack. Steel wasn't all too timid. He didn't know how to really connect with his punch. Like, he was still a bit.
His punches still weren't.
You know, and you know, there's a lot of times during the match where I'm like, man, you crack my jaw, otherwise, you know, I'm gonna slap you one. And when I told him that, that's when he really started laying him in. And unfortunately, if I was to go back into the match, how much I love Steel, I'd have him somehow get the win over me. I don't know what went through me where I was, you know, like, I'll win. But definitely, if I was to go back, I'd have him win. I'd have a lot more cannonballs done. I'd have his part in the match be much more involved.
Yeah.
Than just getting thrown around.
Yeah. How do you feel your team with Aaron was going to mid-year with his title defences in your short side storylines? Because I think he defended the belt against Circus Royale. He's doing a bit here and there with other people, and you were doing your thing with Steel and DJ.
It was definitely a case of the drifting apart a bit. It was hard to glue that back together, but there wasn't too much animosity towards anyone or anything. It was literally like, what would friends do? You know, they're not constantly going to be there because we're not technically stable or like a actual tag team in the division. We're best friends. You know? And we did our own thing. I'm glad that happened. It gave us both a lot more to do and a lot more to fill our careers with than just being like a tag team or constantly being around each other's storylines.
Yeah. Alright, next bit. You miss Frostbite. Can't remember why. Three Dog misses Clash of the Triads. The feud with the Rebellion finally begins at the musical. It's supposed to start at Frostbite. Three Dog and Brian Lowe miss Hardcore Hell. You do double duty at that show to fill in for Aaron against Ryan. So it's an array of instances that ruin what could have been an insanely hardcore feud between yourself and Three Dog against the Rebellion, who had just turned heel. How did that make you feel?
I'm disappointed, mostly myself. I wish that I could have been there. I know...
Because it wasn't just you.
Yeah.
It wasn't just you.
But I knew afterwards, like, you know, after Frostbite, that's when, you know, Three Dog couldn't make it. Then, like, Lowe couldn't make it. But initially, like, where it was supposed to start, that date, it was me, didn't make it. I wanted to start it. I wanted that feud. And to even look back and be like, well, what we had and what ended up happening, and my career-wise was, you know, it ended with, like, Ryan tapping me out in one match where we did nothing. And then, I've literally, like, Ryan's arm going over. Never tapped out, I don't think, in my career.
Yeah, no, when I found out, because I had left at that point, because we were waiting for Aaron, and I was like, I've got to go, I've got things to do.
Yeah.
And I found out that you tapped out to him, I was like,
Yeah.
Whose idea was that? Because by that point, Ryan was in the booking committee, I believe.
Yeah.
I was like, whose idea was that to have Chaos tap out? Aaron was supposed to beat Ryan. So, why didn't Chaos beat Ryan?
Yeah.
So, there was, I guess, a miscommunication.
And it definitely left that event fucked. As Ryan hit me with an acoustic guitar that was still full.
No.
It still had its guts in it. And yeah, he cracked me solid and it never broke. It left a dent. And yeah, after the rest of the match was kind of a blur, but I know we had a good match. I know it was still a decent match.
Yeah. Alright. Gentleman's Duel. There's a hardcore gauntlet. This was a fucking long show. There was a lot of matches at Gentleman's Duel. Hardcore gauntlet. So I popped you all in there. The Rebellion and the Rex and the debuting Marcus Cones Jones.
What do I do if I need a piss?
If you need a piss, then I can talk for a little bit. If you the toilet's in there, first door to the left. Alright, so I'll just try and keep talking here. The Hardcore Gauntlet. The idea behind the Hardcore Gauntlet was to get everyone in the Hardcore division out there in one match, one after another, and really bring back what the Hardcore division was supposed to be about. Because at this point we had kind of lost our way a little bit because the start of the Rebellion feud with Three Dog and Chaos didn't really work out too well. So I finally got them all there at the same show. It was going to be the show where Antilochus finally broke away from Brian Lowe and was the World Hardcore Champion. Jacob felt that Lowe was holding him back and he wanted to go out on his own. But not only that, it was also the debut of Marcus Cones Jones in the ring. He had debuted as their bodyguard at the previous show. But not only that, it was also another opportunity for Three Dog and Chaos to go out there and I guess reprove themselves, as I think I had lost a little bit of faith in them because of the no-shows and all that, and once Aaron had missed a couple of shows, that's when I knew it was time for him to maybe drop the championship, which is the case in every title reign. If someone has shown that they are now slightly incapable of being reliable, first thing is they drop that title immediately. And a good example of that is, Acid, when he was the Australian heavyweight champion. Acid had such a great run as the champion, but then a lot can happen in a month. And he went from being a motivated champion to not showing up. And then he didn't show up again, and then he didn't show up again, and he needed to drop that title for Mykonos, so Mykonos would be the Aussie champion, so it could be champion versus champion with him and Alex Stone at Resolution 3. And there's been other instances. I believe Mykonos was the GBYWN Australian Heavyweight Champion in 2012. He had retained the title at Resolution 1, but around that time he made one little comment to me which he shouldn't have made, which was, "I'm thinking of retiring soon. I'm losing my motivation to do this." So immediately, the next show at Aftershock, I hot-shotted a random title defense against Dynamo, where Dynamo walked away with the Aussie title. Not saying Dynamo didn't deserve being an Aussie champion, but at that point it might have been a little early. But that's just the whole point. If someone says they're thinking of retiring, if someone shows that they're being unreliable, I've got to get the belt off them immediately so we can avoid vacating the title, because I hate vacating the title. So, Chaos is back. He's had a piss, maybe a wank. So we're talking about the Hardcore Gauntlet.
Yep.
And I was just talking about how I needed to get the belt off Three Dog because he'd shown unreliability.
Of course.
Did you have a problem losing to Marcus Cones Jones?
Yes and no. I was happy to put him over, as I did with Clint and Phaser, just because he was the next kind of big thing. He was ready to make an impact. He wasn't just a newbie. He was starting with Rebellion, like the one of the most dominant tag teams in WZWA. They just turned heel. They got a new guy, fit, athletic.
He could have done really well if he just
It was
kept his
afterwards,
fucking nose clean and didn't fuck around and miss shows.
And that's it. And, unfortunately,
It's like BMX 2.0. You know?
Yeah, BMX didn't really know too well how to
Didn't
wrestle,
understand the
yeah.
etiquette of if you miss a show, you apologise and say, I'm sorry, I'll be at the next show. Don't expect to get good shit if you miss shows, you know?
That's it. But I found the way we did the match and versing Marcus, we still had a great match.
So you started off with low, so you just gone through a bit of a war. So
yeah, and
it was, I guess, a little bit okay that he beat you.
That's it. Like, and I haven't versed low in that kind of caliber match ever. For us to walk in there and both do an amazing job, that's how I felt. That first bit was amazing. I've got a win over Low, which is he's already been a former WZWA champion at this point. I was like amazed, and then having Marcus come out and I'm already tired. I can see him coming. First thing I do is stand up, tired, ready to fight, and he springboards, and you can't do nothing. I can't carry this guy. I'm too tired.
Yeah.
It was done so well, and I was actually happy to put him over. And otherwise it would have been me versus Three Dog, and I think that would have been a bit more awkward.
Yeah. Well, in the end, Antilochus came away with the championship, so we passed the torch on to the younger guy, the hardcore superstar.
Fractured Three Dog's ribs.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fucked. That whole bump, horrible. Poor dude. You have to ride his motorbike back all the way to Bunbury or whatever.
I fractured my ribs when I fell off that Jeep, so that's
Yeah.
what I mean. I knew exactly what he was going through.
Got ya. All right.
Glad you'd have to do that.
Yeah. Moving forward, this is probably, I would say, the worst part of your time in wrestling. Not only did you miss Christmas Carnage 2014, where you were to accept the Dark Isis Fight Night challenge, but then you missed Resolution 3, which is undoubtedly the biggest and best show we've ever had. What was going on, and how did it make you feel to... I mean, Christmas Carnage, not such a big deal, but to miss Resolution...
That was a big thing, yeah. I almost, it's not as much that I missed Christmas Carnage, but it is close to missing Resolution, very close, because I wanted to wrestle Ice again, especially for Ice to call out someone for Fight Night, and it to be his long-time adversary and ally.
Yeah. Because this would be the first match you guys have had since Revenge 2012, so it's a 2-year, nearly over a 2-year wait for that rematch.
That's it, and...
People say they've wrestled each other over and over again, but they hadn't wrestled in 2 years, which is a long time in Yardie.
Yeah, that's it, and I was so upset that, both events I cried, I didn't have enough money, and to trek it all the way, I just couldn't see myself doing it. The job I was in was very physical, was very physically demanding.
Yeah.
To work from early morning to the Arvo, and get there on time as well. I'm already getting there late. I didn't want to give up.
Because I was worried this might have been the end, like you might not have ever come back.
And so did I, because I was in a lot of financial problems.
Yeah.
I was in a job where my manager was a prick. I couldn't get time off. I couldn't get that once a month off, and that's what really sucked for me. I felt very depressed. It just added to it, I didn't feel very happy. I was putting on more weight as well. There's problems with just dietary problems, really. I'm working now. I don't have time to work on myself as much.
Yeah.
So those two events, it was heartbreaking. I was in tears. My partner, Jesse, was always with me. And said, I'm sorry, I can't do anything because all the money's gone on rent and bills, paying off fines. But it was heartbreaking to break someone else's heart. Resolution 5 will always be...
3.
3, sorry, yeah. 5?
It's next year.
Resolution 3 will always be one of the biggest regrets ever missing, ever. And one thing is having the like class photo, you know, and I'm not there. And see Viper's even there, you know.
Yeah.
There's this.
That was pretty
so
huge,
big,
man.
you know, and unfortunately, yeah, it still breaks my heart, but there's no one else to blame but really me, because if I did plan it out right, you know, I would have been able to make it.
Yep.
Apart from car problems or shit like that.
Yep. Shit happens, man.
It is.
And everyone always has a down period.
When it rains, it pours, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it goes bad, nothing's going to go bad.
Yeah.
I've got fuel. I don't have radiator fluid. I'm going to fucking die if I drive it.
And I've had those moments too, you know, like 2012 ICWS. I missed a couple of shows because of my depression and all that shit. And I actually missed the first show of WZWA with the ring because I couldn't get out of bed. So I did have some bad times as well, and I know how it feels.
Yeah.
So here we go. You returned nearly 5 months after your last performance at Hard Time 4, after we had a 3-month break. For what may have been your worst match with Ice that you guys have had. Was this due to ring rust? And had you lost your passion at all during the previous half a year that you hadn't had the chance to wrestle?
I did. I thought, why? Not so much a passion to losing passion and quit, more losing passion and taking time off, and refining myself as I wanted in ICWS. Going up to the match with Ice, it was definitely ring rust. I hadn't versed Ice in over 2 years. I don't know how his wrestling will be like with me after the psoriasis, if it's still there. 'Cause I know, but you know, it does relapse back and forth. Also, that I thought we could pull off the improvisation match, and it was definitely a match where we should have figured out what we were doing, and maybe got a bit more of an idea of how it should have ended. It was definitely awkward, but I never say any match with Ice is bad. It's always a good match. It's always good to be chokeslammed and have a chance to wrestle my best mate. But it was definitely not the best. Definitely not the best.
Yeah. Okay. Lost my place again. Where are we? Okay. You defeat Ice at false finish after he fractures his ankle. The short feud is already over. Do you feel lost in the mix in WZWA at this point? And do you feel that you need to regain your momentum?
Very much so. With Ice fracturing his foot, I felt a little niggling at being a bit damaged, a damaged character. You know, wanting a fair fight with my best mate, with my adversary, and not getting that, and feeling like I've had to put him down at the end, like Old Yeller, because he's fractured his leg. You know.
Yeah.
And I think after that it set a tone for how my character should be, but I definitely felt lost in the mix. Another thing is me adapting to how everything's going for me. So if I was, I'm pretty sure I've had numerous conversations with you, and I'm like, look, man, I know I'm not doing much, but I'm going with this damaged kind of chaos where I feel lost. I feel disgusted at myself. I've had to put down my best friend.
Yeah.
I never got the satisfactory fight of who's the better man. I think that's just the best thing to do in those circumstances. Just try and work it to your advantage.
Yeah. So what does Dark Ice mean to your career? And I know this is, it's a big one there.
It is a huge one, but it's as big as it is. It's simple. Dark Ice is the polar opposite of me, but at times we are one and the same. We are together. We're a well-oiled machine. We're like the fucking Zoid of Power Rangers. You put us together, we're gonna kick ass. You put us against each other, we're gonna kick ass. Ice is like the best to me. He's a Hall of Famer. Everything he's done is well deserved. He is the better wrestler out of us two. I'll say that. He's definitely got a lot more in his moveset, and that also, not only does that boost him, but it boosts me to be alongside someone like that, and to have been alongside someone as a tag team, as a stable, as an adversary, as an ally. I think without Ice, if I was to have done ICWS, SPWS, WZWA without Ice, it wouldn't be the same at all.
Yeah.
At all. Definitely leaned on each other and definitely supported each other, and but I don't think Chaos would be Chaos without Ice.
Fair enough. Bowl of Mixed Nuts, you repaid Mykonos the favour he did for you when you beat him for the ICWS title. What's it like working with Mykonos?
It's very fun. Mykonos has a lot of great moves in his set. He's very agile. He was a bit puffed out. I think he hadn't wrestled me for quite some time. So, of course, I'm a bit of a fireball. I like to get back up. I like to throw people around. But it was great to refresh with a match with Mitch. Definitely a guy I would want to wrestle a bit more, because he's a great wrestler, and I just like working with our different styles as well.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little like, well, the last time we saw each other, I took your titles, so let's see how it goes now, and it's definitely fun. Definitely anticipated.
Cool, man. At Frostbite, you suffer another defeat, this time to Rex Regum in a great match. What does Rex mean to your yarding career?
Rex, he fits in the puzzle with Ice as well. Without Rex and my feud was just one of the best feuds I've ever had. In comparison to yours, they're very parallel. They're very raw. We both know each other. Chris knows my wrestling moves. He knows how I should be selling, how I should be going through with the move, how he should sell it. Also, he knows where my previous injuries are. He's always going to know that I've got a dodgy knee or the burn. He's always known where to attack me and how to make it look realistic to take down someone as big as me. I think Chris is definitely one of those guys that helped define my career as well. Unfortunately, with our match, I think it's only just been recovered, the one of the tables of hell. With the best out of 3
at Christmas Carnage 2012.
Yeah, best 2 out of 3, and I think that's just been recovered. No, actually, I don't think so. Sorry.
No, I don't think we ended up getting it. We've only just got the one spot that we could find of you suplexing him through all the tables.
But matches like that, it really defines how well the feud was.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never really also been one to come out solo and attack someone after a match or during a match. And still did it, and it was almost as much of Ice being his protege as him being somewhat my protege. Opposite, you know, to wrestle him, to be a bit of a mentor, and as much as I don't know, Chris might think differently because he's a cocky little bastard. No, it was definitely like that. It was definitely good to wrestle him and learn off each other.
Yep. You go on to defeat Three Dog to end a one-show feud with him to wrap up your tag team. Aaron had not really been at any event all year due to lack of communication and him falling off the face of the earth from Facebook and all that. What's your relationship with him like now? This is a three-part question, so we'll start with that.
There's no real love loss. He's invited me to his house as well, which he hasn't really invited too many people, which says something. It definitely says that something's happened. There's a different attitude to Three Dog. He's still a great bloke, but yeah, no, something's definitely gone down. But there's no love loss. There's no animosity. Every time we see each other, it's still a big hug and a great laughs, and just starting off where we left.
So you still communicate with him a little bit here and there?
Yes, still do. You know, it's less about like when's the next sesh with each other. It's more like when can we actually just hang out and have a good chat and you know, even talk about wrestling or like, you know, a barbecue. You know, he's definitely grown up a lot, which is good.
The next part of that question was, do you feel like your team got to see the heights that it could have?
No, not really, because of the rebellion.
The rebellion thing.
Yeah, it was just that took a whole chunk out. It really took a bite out of what we could have been and hyped us up a bit more and hyped up Rebellion a bit more. But we didn't do worse for when we were there. We did our best. So as long as we were there, we tried our best, and I think we succeeded at, you know, pulling off the shows as well as we could.
Yep. And lastly, you know, it seems like Aaron's been there in almost every important part of both of your careers. You know, the World Hardcore title situation, you being ICWS champion and him being your first person to put the title on the line against. You know, you dropping the World Hardcore title to him. So a lot of like important moments have happened with you two being involved with one another. So what does Three Dog mean to your career?
He's definitely someone I could experiment with. I feel safe with him, being a bigger guy as well. He throw me around. He's taught me how to work from the little guy, from the underdog kind of perspective, and how to work a match from there. I think if Three Dog wasn't in any part of my career, it would definitely be a lot different. I wouldn't be as taking as much risks as I've seen him do. It's another thing of I've absorbed information, I've learned from him, he's learned from me, and our last match was I've never really been one to take a dive or go through the middle rope or anything. I was very skeptical, even though I've had guys like him, big guys like Ice, doing flips, jumping out the ring. I've been like, nah. But the last match, I was like, you know what, I'm actually determined to like spear you outside the ring. He's like, yeah man, that's good. And I felt safe. I knew like he wouldn't just, it wasn't a new thing for him. He'd be able to like be able to keep me as safe as I was keeping him safe. Definitely a guy that taught me a lot, and I've got to experiment with. Best mate.
Yeah, cool man. 2015 Oh wait, hang on. Sorry. In a great battle, you lose to Dan Zeppelin one more time in a World Hardcore title match. What does Dan Zeppelin mean to your career? I know there's been 3 of them in a row now.
No.
What does Dan Zeppelin mean to your career, and why did you bring yourself to tears after the match?
Start off with what Dan Zeppelin means. Dan is... I felt like I wanted him to be my protege in ICWS. I always saw him as a little brother, kind of wanted to take him under my wing. I always loved Dan, always had a little affiliation with him. We love to drink early morning for breakfast. He's had me over when I was out of a job and looking for work, and he was happy to have me around to hang out with. The guy's definitely someone that helped me become Chaos, helped me refine my character a bit more, helped me pick theme music, because he's been a backyard wrestling fan for longer than me.
Yeah.
Initially, that would make me his protege.
Yeah.
I keep saying this. It's always how much you can learn off someone. But Dan Zeppelin, I think what Dan Zeppelin means to my career is my first aspiration. I wanted to be like that. I wanted to have that stigma where, if I was face, I was on top of the fucking world. If I was a heel, why would you do it? Why would you sell out? Why would you be so selfish? I learned a lot off him.
Cool. Alright, 2015 ends with Chaos being... Oh wait, we didn't mention the tears after the match with him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The tears...
It just feel right?
Yeah, it just felt like I was going through a lot of shit. Wrestling has always been my purge, my outlet. Versing Dan, it was just emotional to have an amazing match with Dan. Also, being a bit of a sadomasochist, really. Getting the pain from that match, it reminded me of why I was a hardcore champion. It reminded me of how good I was, to never doubt myself, because I was in a lot of self-doubt. And it was, if I could, I felt that emotion, and I was like, if I could use that, if I could just let it out, not hold it back, and just drop the pride, and kind of was like, I'm kind of feel broken, because I did. I felt broken outside of the ring as well. I felt very, very self-esteem issues, self-doubt problems, and Chaos. Basically, he's losing a match. He's lost his chance to get his title back, to be on top of the world once more and hold it in his hands. Yeah. So I just used it. That's what I did. And Dan Zeppelin and me always have the great sportsmanship after each match. So I knew that would help as well.
Yeah, when I saw you do it, I was like, shit. There's so much more I could be doing with Killawatt Chaos. I think you definitely proved yourself over last year, that I could rely on you again. Whereas 2014, at the end of it, I was a little bit, I'll see what I can fit him in with next year. But then after being there every single event, putting on a great performance as much as you can, it made me realise I could do a lot more with Killawatt Chaos. So I think 2016 is going to be your biggest year yet in the WZWA. But 2015 ends with Chaos being unable to win the Battlefield Brawl. It's been an up and down time for Chaos over the past few years, with the success of his ICWS run to his somewhat back and forth success rate in WZWA. Did the WZWA produce the best kind of Killawatt Chaos it could have? Do you feel that you were capable of more?
Maybe just a bit. Maybe just a few more calibers more. But most of that is due to myself being a bit hesitant to do things, missing out on shows, basically just the Fed being in a bit of a mess at some times, and that's not to do with you, it's just to do with everyone.
Just the fact that there's
the combination
nearly
of
30 guys at one stage. With all the
Exactly.
different people, it can get pretty fucking hectic.
And the thing was, I think what was done with me was done best. Like, I got given the hardcore title. I was picked for that. I think that would be the tippy top.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a bit. I've reached. I peaked a bit, and for that year, and I did something great. I think just under that, I could have filled myself more and plumped up the years a bit more. But I don't really have any regrets at all. I've definitely proved that I'm a hardcore guy and I can take pain and I can give pain. Also, just little things that I'm glad to have experienced. Alex being drunk in the battlefield brawl and yelling out the spot because he's trashed. That's going to be the funniest thing when we've locked eyes and I'm like, oh sweet, like I think we can do something. And him going, you go for a spear, I'll leapfrog you, because he's trashed. He's off his face. And even after the last match with me and Ice, and Chris comes out, and mine and Chris's feud hasn't really come to a great halt.
Yeah.
He's come in and I've just been like, wait up, no, this is my friend before it was your friend, like, and that's the infamous plasterboard shot to the back.
Oh man, that's great.
And I think that was also, I got a lot of kudos because Chris has been a bit of a.
I think everyone enjoyed seeing him get hit with that fucking drywall.
And yeah. And I'm pretty sure everyone would love to see me get just annihilated like that and be in that kind of pain, because it'd be like, how? Like, finally, we brought that guy that can't be hurt down. Just little things like that. I'm grateful to have been there for.
Sweet as. So I did bring it up earlier. I always said you were my Sandman of WZWA. Do you understand that comparison now, looking back, considering you had been a heel most of your career before WCWA? But do you understand the comparison now that I was trying to make when I first told you about it?
I definitely do. And I wish I kept that comparison, apart from trying to experiment with myself and make myself a bit more mysterious. I think, actually, to be honest, that might be just one little regret, that I wish I actually kept
true to the idea of what it was.
Definitely, and I think it might have actually been a lot more fun and less stressful on me, because I'm like, oh, what do I do? I need to be different. Oh, what do I do this show? It's almost like DJ with his fucking theme songs. Yeah. I'm trying to like change myself in different ways as well.
There's definitely flashes here and there of that idea.
Oh yeah.
It's there. You see it sometimes, but then sometimes it's not there. But you're still being Chaos, but you're just not doing the idea that we generated when we first talked about it. But
I find almost that, like, if you were to make present day ICWS Chaos face, with the denim jacket, the devil driver vest, I think that would be like how I'd be. A lot more ballsy, attitudey, like Sandmanish, and a lot more unstable.
Yeah. This is a very broad question. What does WZW mean to you? Well, you kind of have, explained that. The memories and everything that you've accomplished, and World Hardcore Champion, and everything that you've done. So I guess we've kind of covered that. But the last question I've got for you here on this section of the podcast is, what else does Killawatt Chaos need to accomplish in backyard wrestling?
Maybe join my brother Ice on the Hall of Fame mountain. not always too bothered, but I think being SBWS, being a Hall of Fame thing would be amazing. And just having more fun and creating more memories. Things I look back on when I'm going through my tough times and smiling, and they're always left in my memory banks.
Yep.
More than the matches themselves, even more so some of my accomplishments. It's the great memories.
Yep. Alright, Chaos, well that brings us to the end of part 2, the end of your WZWA tenure thus far. We've still got one more year and then it's all over Red Rover. But there is a Q&A, so we'll hop onto that just after a little break. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the GBYWN Australia podcast. Aston crew with Killawatt Chaos here today, and we'll be with you for the Q&A very shortly. Thank you for listening.